What happened to your
Chumash and Rashi.
here?
Chumash and Rashi. We are in Parshas Va'eschanan, second reading. Let's get right to the second reading. Oh,
I don't take credit.
thank you.
Teachers do it. So however it is, it's great or not, it's not mine.
All right. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Shakom Barei.
Very.
Oh, oh.
Wake up. Hi.
Chaim Bracha. All right. Anybody let in, please. Okay. Re'eh. Behold, look, Lamadati Eschem, I've taught you Chokim, statutory laws, Mishpatim, and ordinances. Kasher Tzivani Hashem Alakai, as Hashem has commanded to me, Hashem, my God, Lasois Cain, to do so, Bikerev Aretz, amongst, in the land, Asher Atem Boim, Shomal Rishta, that you're coming there to possess. Others, he's taught mitzvahs to do in the land, like Truma, Meiser, right? Some things we learn in Rambam. Right, giving tithes from the crop and so on and so forth. L'chaim. Ushmartem, and you should safeguard, uasisem and do them. Ki why? Ki chachmas, because they are your wisdom. Right, they will attest to your wisdom, into your understanding, to the eyes of the nations, asher yishmeun, that they will hear, the nations, right, is kol hachukim, all of these statutory laws, v'omru, and they will say, rak am chacham v'novein, hagoy gadol hazeh, right, and they will say, only this great nation is such a wise and understanding people. Rashi, in Vav, in 6, Shmartem, safeguard, Zu Mishnah. What does it mean to safeguard? It means study. When you will study, you will safeguard the fulfillment of mitzvahs, vasisam, and perform, kimashmai, as it sounds. Because it is your wisdom and your understanding. For this you will consider chacham and avodim, wise and understanding, the eyes of the people of the world. Right? In other words, the opposite. It's not that you will not observe, and that's what will make you look good in the people's eyes. It's because you will observe, and that will make you the wise. Wow. How do you fight anti-Semitism? Be more of a Jew, not more of a assimilated person. No, I'm sorry. I'm focused over here because it's long. I'm not going off.
See, it's long.
Ki mi goy gadol, for who is a great nation? Goy means nation, by the way. Okay, great nation, asher loy, that is to him, right? Alikim krevim, that they have a God that's near to them. May love to. Ki Hashem Elokeinu. So who is this great nation that has a God, craving the close Elav, Ki Hashem, like God, Elokeinu, our God, that whenever we call upon him, in other words, he's near whenever we call upon him. Mi goy gadol, who is his great nation? What a great nation! Asher loy chukim mishpatim, that has his statutory and ordinances, tzadikim that are righteous. Kechol Torah, as all this Torah, Asher neichenes and lifnechem hayom, that I'm giving to you today. Rashi chukim mishpatim tzadikim agonim lemekubalim, meaning that these are rules and ordinances that are just and proper and acceptable. Number 9. There's just one thing only. Be safe, guard for yourselves. Nafshecha, your souls, very much so. That lest you forget that you will forget the things that your eyes saw, and that you will take from remove from your hearts all the days of your life. In other words, haidaitem, you must make them known to your children and your children's children. Don't remove them. How are you going to not remove them? By making them known to your children and children's children. No, all the mitzvahs.
Questions, huh?
No questions. Sorry, not now. At the end, yes, but not now.
You?
Right. If we had time, there would be questions. So only beware of for yourself, lest you forget the things. Then when you will not forget them, and you will perform them in the authentic manner. Then this is connected to the previous verses. Then you will be considered wise and understanding. But if you will distort them as a result of forgetting, you'll be considered fools. Wow. Okay, you got to come and learn every day so you don't forget it. Hayoim, the day Hashem the day that you stood before Hashem your God, at Chayriv, which means Mount Sinai. And God saying to me, gather for me, congregate for me the nation, and I will make them hear, is Devarai, my words, that they should learn in order to fear me. Kol hayamim, all the days, asher heim chayim, that they are alive, al adama, on the land. V'esbeneihem yilmedu, and their children will also be taught. Right? They were taught to revere me. Rashi in number 10, asher the day that you stood, Musav al Mikra Shalamayim Mimena. This refers back to the preceding verse. Asher Roenecha, that your eyes had beheld. Yom Hashem Amadata b'Chayriv, the day that you stood at Chayriv, Mount Sinai. Asher Yisem Akedah says Alpidim, that you saw the sounds and the flames as you experienced God's presence. Yilmadun Yalfun, you shall learn Latzman for yourselves. Yilamedun Yalfun, and you should teach Lachir, and you should teach to others. Verse number 11, and you came close, you approached, and you stood under the mountain, and the mountain was burning in fire, until the heart of heaven, that there was darkness, a normal cloud and a thick cloud. 12. And Hashem spoke to you from within the fire. Kol dvarim, a voice of words. Atem shemim, you heard. But his image you did not see. Zulasi kol, only his voice you heard, God's voice. Number 13. And he told to you his covenant. Asher tziva eschem, that he commanded you, lasos, to do, aser sadvarim, the 10 things, right, the 10 commandments. V'yichteveim al shnei luchos avanim, and he wrote them on 2 tablets of stone. V'oisi tziva, and me he commanded, Hashem, he at that time, l'lamed eschem, to teach you, chukim, statutory laws, mishpatim, the ordinances, lasoischem, to do them, oisam, them, ba'aretz, in the land, asher atem oivim sham l'rishta, that you are crossing over to inherit, to possess. Oisi tziva Hashem l'lamed eschem, Torah shebal peh, this is referring to the oral law, because God spoke to them and gave them the written law, but he told me to tell you the oral law. And you must guard very much so yourselves, your souls. So you have to must guard yourself very carefully. You did not see an image of God on the day that he spoke to you at Chayriv, out of the midst of the fire. Lest you will corrupt, and you will make for yourselves pesel, tmunas, you'll make yourself a sculptured image. Tmuna is an image, called semel of a representation, tavnis, that is a form, zachar and nekeva, a form of likeness of male and female. Semel tsura, a form, any form, right? That has a likeness of a person, male or female, right? Tavni is called behema, or the likeness of a beast. Asher ba'aretz is in the land. Tavni is called tzipor, or the image, right? The likeness of any winged tzipor kanaf, a winged bird. Asher ta'oif b'shamayim, that flies in the sky. Tavnis, or the likeness or the image, kol remes ba'adama, of any crawling thing on the earth. Tavnis kol daga, or the likeness of any fish, asher b'mayim, that is in the water, mitach zaretz, under the earth. Right? Others, you might be corrupting to make this mistake, right? Open, lest, be careful, lest Tisa inechem, you will lift up your eyes, Hashemayim, to the heavens, but Isis Hashem, you'll see the sun, or the moon, or the stars, called Tzva Hashemayim, all of the hosts of heavens, and that you will bow down to them, make them into gavadim, and that you will serve them. Ki Ashech Chalak Hashem Elokecha Itzam L'chol Ha'amim Tachas Shemayim, that go. In other words, you will. Then I gave them. I'm finishing the verse. Yeah, that you will bow down to them, and serve them. Asher Chalak, because I've divided them, I've given them over. Hashem Elokecha gave them over to the nations that are under the heavens. In other words, the nations will worship them, right? But we should make the mistake and worship them. Number 19 in Rashi. Unless you raise your eyes, to look at a thing, let's say slave, and to give your heart to err and follow them. Don't make that mistake. Asher Chalak Hashem, that Hashem has appointed to all nations of the world, them as to give them light. Alternative, that these heavenly bodies are apportioned to them as deities. He did not prevent them from erring and following them. But he let them slip by the means of the words of foolishness. In other words, attributing divine status to the heavenly bodies. That they will then be removed from this world. Likewise it says, that he let them slip in his eyes, that he should find his sin to hate them. Okay, 20. But for you, the Jewish people, lakach, taken Hashem has taken you, and he took you out, mikura barzel, he took it from the crucible of the crucible, Mitzrayim of Egypt, liyasloi, an iron crucible. Barzel is iron, and kur is a crucible. Right? Mitzrayim of Egypt, liyasloi lam, that you should be for him a nation, nachla, as a possession, as this very day. We are his heritage. Mikur Rashi, from the crucible, kur shehu kli, a kur is a vessel, shemazkikim is a zav, that you refine gold. You put gold in there, and all of the sediments, right, is removed from it. Well, here he says refining gold. Okay, Hashem, Isan of B, and Hashem was angry in me. Al divrechem, because of your words, because of your things. Vishava lebilti avar isayarden, and he swore that to hold me back from passing over the Yarden over the Jordan River. Lebilti boy alaris, and not allowing me to go into the land. Hatoiva, that's good, the good land. Asher Hashem alekecha neisin. That Hashem, your God, is giving to you as an inheritance. Rashi in 21, he became filled with anger. Al divrechem, because of your matters. Concerning you, concerning your affairs. Okay. Thank you. 22. Good. 22, we got a truck. It says, I will die in this land. I am not passing over. It's a Yarden, the Jordan. But you are passing over and you will take possession. It's the orders of the land that's good. Hazois, this good land. I'm going to die and I'm not going to pass over. Once I die, Mehechan Yaber, how could he cross? Ella, but I'm not crossing over. Even my bones are not going to cross, right? Maybe my bones would cross. Nope, not even that's going to cross. 23. Hishamru, beware. Lachem, for yourselves. Perhaps you will forget. Es a bris the covenant. Hashem Elokeichem, that Hashem your God, Asher Karas Imachem, that he made with you, Basisem, Achem Pesel, and you may forget, and therefore you may make a pesel, a sculptured image. Tmunas is the image, sculptured image. Asher Kol Asher Tzivcha Hashem Elokecha, that which God has commanded you and others not to do. Tmunas called davar, likeness of any object. Right before he gave particular objects. Now he's saying any object. Asher tzivcha Hashem, Asher tzivcha shaloi lasot, God commanded you not to do. A prohibition, in other words. Ki Hashem elokecha isha hu kel kona, because God is a consuming fire. He is a zealous God. Wow. 24. Kel Kona, he's a zealous God. Mekanel, Inkaim, he's zealous to take vengeance. An old French, emprendeur. Emprendeur. Mischara al rogzai. He gets angry and settles a score. Those who engage in idol worship. Why? Because God is jealous, because he wants a relationship that we should have only with him and with no other. Okay, this was yesterday's reading from Tisha B'Av, by the way. It starts right here. When you will have children, or b'nei banim and grandchildren, b'nei shantim, and you will be long in the land, and others you've been there as well established in the land, and you will become corrupt. Asis and pestle, and you will make a sculpture, tmunas of an image, kol of anything. And you will do the evil in the eyes of God, Hashem your God, to anger him. And you will have been long. This is a hint to the Jews that they will be exiled from the land at the end of 852 years. Communion Neishantim, which is the numeric value of Neishantim. Right?
Is that the second exile? No.
First exile, but there was first 14 years, then 369 years, and then 452 years, and then 400, and then 410 years. You put that all together, you get 850 years. And he advanced the exile 2 years ahead of the representative of Neishantim. And so it was 2 years earlier in order that this verse should not be fulfilled. And that's what it says. That Hashem hurried regarding the evil to bring it upon us. Because Hashem is charitable. Wow, he brought our destruction 2 years earlier, and that's a charity that God did, because if not, then it would have fulfilled this verse and we would have been destroyed. And therefore he brought to bring the exile before its time. Wow. Look how we would see it as terrible, but really it's a charity. And I have witnessed in you, Hayom, today, Es Hashemayim, the heavens, Vis Aretz and land. Ki aveta vedun, that you will be lost, completely lost, perished, maher, quickly. Allah is from the land Asher Atem Ivrim that you are passing over as a yard in the Jordan, Shama there, Lirishta, to take possession. Lo yisarichun yamim aleha, you will not have many days upon it. Ki shamei tishmeinu, because you will be utterly destroyed. Hidesi bechem hinanim mazminim liyois edim she'esrasin bechem. I am now hereby calling these witnesses, heaven and earth, to bear witness to what I am saying. Wow. Hashem eschem, and Hashem will scatter you. Amongst the nation, and nishartem, and you will remain there. Misbar, a small number, but goyim amongst the nations. Asher yinahig Hashem eschem, shama, that Hashem will lead you there. Vavadatem sham elikim maisim yedei adam, and you will there avadatem, you will become worshippers. In other words, as he adds over here, well, Rashi will say, because you're going to be slaves, that's going to be Rashi, right? So you will now be worshiping there, Elikim, gods, Maisi, the Adam that are made of man, Eitz Evan, made from wood and Evan and stone. Asher lo yirun, that you cannot see, v'lo yishmun, that they don't see these gods, they v'lo yishmun, that they don't hear, v'lo yichlun, v'lo yirichun, that they cannot see, hear, eat, or smell. Rashi v'avatem shalom elikim kitargum. This is according to Onkelos' understanding, the way he translates it. The what is kisha'atem oivdim la'avdeihem. You will be servants to their. You will be servants to their service of idols. It will be as if you are serving idols. As you're going to serve them, it's going to be like you're serving idols. I'm not sure what that means exactly. It sounds like just by being enslaved by them that you are then serving their idols.
He's making a comparison. He's saying that you're going to follow their ways. That's exactly what's happening now.
Yeah.
We're all following in the way.
Okay, 29, sorry. Yep, exactly. Bikash to Misham, and you will request from there as Hashem Elokecha, Hashem your God, Mitzasa, and you will find, you will find him with all your heart and with all your soul. And it will be distressful for you. And all these things will happen to you. Will find at the end of days. And you will return to Hashem your God. Whoa, and you will obey him. Wow. Is that what's happening now or not? Kikel Rachum, because he is a God that is compassionate. Hashem Elokecha, Hashem your God. Lo yarpecha. He will not loose. Lo yarpecha, he will not loosen his hold on you. V'lo yashechi yischecha, and he will not destroy you. V'lo yishkach as a bris, and he will not forget his covenant avisecha asher nishba lehem that he made with the forefathers, that he swore to them. Rashi in 31. Lo yarpecha, he will not loosen his hold on you. V'lahachzik bach, to hold on to you biyada with his hand. This is an expression. He will not loosen his grip and separate him from you, and separate you from God. We find it similar in the Song of Songs, similar idea that I took hold of him, I will not let him loose. Shalai nenakid arpenu, then I'll vowelize arpenu, that I will become loose towards him. Lashem rifoyin musaval, lashem afil mispoil, rifoyin, kamay arpelo, ten lahem rifoyin, harav elezim zrape mimenu. Okay, 32. That was just some grammar. Ki sha'alna. Because you need sha'alna, you need please to ask the yamim harishonim, for the earlier days asher hayu lefanecha, that were before you, lemina yom asher bara elikim, from the day that God created Adam, man, Allah haaretz, on the earth, or lemiktei hashamayim, And from one end of the heavens to the other end of the heaven. Has there ever been anything like this great phenomena or any other likes of it ever heard? Let's see Rashi. Rashi for this one. The Yamim Rishonim, what does that mean? The Yamim Rishonim regarding the earlier days. Yeah, and for those from one end of the heavens to the other, Gam Shaol, and also inquire, L'chol Abruyim, of all creatures, Hashem Mikotze al Lekotze, from one end of the earth to the other end of the heavens. Mazel Pshuta, and that's a simple meaning of the verse.
What number?
32.
Thank you.
That's simple meaning. Midrashay. In other words, from all creatures, to ask, and there was nothing like our relationship with God. But the Midrash it teaches al Kamel Shalom on the height of Adam. It was from the earth the Shemaim to the heavens. But there was Shir Atzmai, and that was the same measure, from one end to the other. I don't know what that meant to me. Sorry. Has there ever been anything like this before? What is this? Has the people ever heard the following verse? Hashama am kol elokim medaber mitoich ha'esh kasher shamaita ata v'yechi. Did the people ever hear the voice of God out of the midst of the fire as you have heard and remain alive? Oy hanisa, or did anybody have a miracle, Elokim of God, lovay lekachas loy, that he should come, God should come lekachas loy, to take for himself goy, a nation, mikerev goy, in the midst of another nation, right? Taking the Jews out of the Egyptians, right? The misais that he took them with trials. That's misais. The oiseis with signs, the maifsim with wonders, and with a battle, yad chazakin with a strong arm, an outstretched arm, but and with great manifestation, a great manifestation. Also, as everything that he did, lachem, meaning God did for you, Hashem Elokeichem, Hashem your God, b'Mitzrayim le'nechem, in Egypt before your very eyes.
Sounds like Haggadah a little bit.
Yeah. 34. Anisa Elokim. Has any God performed miracles to take for himself a nation? All the haze that are prefix over here, to miyahem, they're all questions. They're all questions. That's why they are vocalized with a chatav patach, rhetorical questions. Aniya, Hanishma, Hashama, Hanisa. B'matzais, with challenges, Hayidei Nisyanis, through tests, Haydiya Gvuraisa. He showed his God, his great might, Kigoin, he spar alai, glorify yourself over me. Im Uchalas can any other God do such a thing? Now see, this was a test. In other words, do you recognize God, that God is the one behind all that has happened to you? But he says, that means with signs. Lahamin, that you instill a belief. That Moshe was showing signs to the Jewish people that he's a messenger of God. What is this in your hand? Right, the staff that he had in his hand. That's interesting because that was before Parai. Yes, questions later. We may have seen with wonders. Heimani flies. These are the marvels that God brought upon Makas Muflois, marvelous 10 plagues. And a war, biyam, that was at the sea. Shenamar, as it says, Ki Hashem yilachem lachem, nilchem lachem, that Hashem is going to fight on your behalf. 35. Va'atem, va'ata harei saladas, and thank you. Va'ata, and you, Jewish people, harei saladas, were shown to know Ki Hashem, that Hashem, hu Elokim, that Hashem is Elokim. There's no none else besides him. 35 in Rashi. Haresa, what does that mean? Kitarguma, according to Onkelos' translation, Ita chazesa, that you've been shown, that God gave you the Torah. Pasach lehem shiva rikim. He opened the 7 heavens for the Jewish people. Just as he parted the heavenly realms. Likewise, he parted the lower realms. And he showed that he is one and unique. That's what it said. That he's shown you, he showed you to know. In other words, just like God is one and only above, likewise he showed you down here in this world, he is one and only. Mina shamayim hishmiyacha, from the heavens hishmiyacha, he made you hear es koila, his voice, liyasreka, to show you the path. The Allah Aretz, and on the land, that's from heaven, and on the land, Herecha, he showed you. Es Ishai, his fire, his fire, Hagdoila, his great fire, Udvarav, and his word, Shamaitim mitoicha eish, and you heard his word amidst the fire. Betachas ki ahev, and this, why did he do all of this? Because, tachas means in the stead, meaning because. Ki ahev, because he loved. Your forefathers, and he chose his seed, meaning of the forefathers, acharav, that come after them. Who's that? That's me and you. And he took you out from before him, with his great strength, out of Egypt. Rashi in 37. Tachas ki ohiv, because he loved. Calls all of that he mentioned before. Tachas asher ohiv, he did it because he loved. And he took you out before him. As a person leads his son before him. Shenemar, as it says. And the angel of God, who was being in front of the children of Israel, moved them and went before them, the angel. Another explanation of what this means. That he took you before him, before the forefathers, is mentioned in the verse. As it says, Neged avoisam asafela. In the presence of the forefathers, he did wonders. And don't be puzzled that the fact that the verse mentions them in the singular, because it says avoisecha, not avoiseichem. It should have been plural. Shaharei, why? Zavam b'lashon yachid, written as in singular form, the yifcha b'sara acharam, because he chose his seed after him. Because the verse continues as being also in singular form. Okay, we're going to change the whole thing. I'm not clear how that is explained, but okay. 38. Lahirish goyim, in order that you should drive out the nations, gedalim, that are great nations, ba'atzumim, and powerful mimcha, more powerful than you, mipanecha, from before you, lehaviacha, in order to bring you, laseislacha, and to give you, as artzam, their land, nachala, as an inheritance, kayayim hazeh, as this very day. Rashi, mimcha, mipanecha, from before you. What does that mean? Literally means than you, from before you. Sarsehu, invert the words, the darchehu, and interpret it as follows. Lahirish mipanecha goyim, that you drive out the nations from before you, that are greater and mightier than you. On this very day, as you see this day, so it will be that you will also drive them away. And you should know this day, and bring it to your heart. Anybody know where this verse is? This is the beginning of Shar Yichud Be'emunah, the very beginning of the second book of Tanya. Quotes this and asking on this in the very beginning. Bring to your heart, Ki Hashem, Hu Elokim, that Hashem, He is God. Vashamayim, from the heavens above, Al Aretz mitachas, and the earth below, Ein Oid, and there's none else. Vashmarta is Chukav, and as a result of this, you should observe His statutory laws, u'mitzvahs of it, His mitzvahs. Asher anechi mitzavcha, that I am commanding you hayoim today. Asher yitav lach, that it will be good for you. Ulevanecha, and for your children. Acharecha, that come after you. Ulaman tarichun, in order that you should lengthen yomim, your days, ala adama, on the land. Asher Hashem alakecha neisen lach kol hayomim, that Hashem is giving to you all of these days, meaning forever. Wow, we managed to do it. Unbelievable.
Such a reflection of what's going on today. It's
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Whoa. Okay, we're coming to